We all do it. Text message, email, Facebook. Perhaps you contribute regularly to a blog or are a part of a virtual community. But how are these new technologies affecting our social life? Are they making it easier for us to connect with each other, or are they making it more complicated? Today in modern times, we'll be examining the relationship between new media and interpersonal relationships. I'm your host, Rachel Van Ryan.
Like Baudrillard suggested, are we living in a postmodern society marked by simulation? Are our interactions using new media simply simulations of real authentic communication?
There is a high consensus that using email, Facebook, and instant messaging is quite effective at deepening relationships that are already existing, however not as effective at initiating new ones.
Holder did an ethnographic study on the effects of Facebook's on interpersonal relationships, and found similarly that Facebook didn't seem to facilitate new friendships, but did help maintain already established ones. He also suggests that Facebook may change the way we conceptualize our friendships. When asked respondents how many friends they truly had versus Facebook friends, they seem to have trouble defining this. Since Facebook is a collection of good friends, past friends, acquaintances, strong ties, and weak ties, it makes it less easy to differentiate and distinguish between them. However, Walter found that people, in particular students, who used forms of computer-mediated communication, for example instant messenger, had more opportunities to develop personal relationships than those who didn't. They found that those who used it were more likely to self-disclose and ask intimate questions online rather than face-to-face, thus deepening the relationship. So it appears certain forms of new media can help us build better relationships with the people that we meet in real life. Although a lot of new media help us deepen our already existing relationships, the internet does provide a lot of room for people who are looking to meet new friends. Parks and colleagues study found that those who developed online friendships often had the same amount of emotional depth and were only slightly less developed than those developed offline. However, not everyone agrees with that. There are many scholars and studies who contradict this, such as Cummings and colleagues, who suggested that online friendships are a much lower quality than offline ones.
They argue that online friendships lack the nonverbal cues and the face-to-face video and audio cues that you would have in person. They argue that for this reason they're quite impersonal. Anderson's book, Imagined Communities, suggests that communities are built in the style upon which they are imagined. In that sense, they are free from time and space barriers and are more of a shared system of meaning. Online communities provide a space for like-minded people to connect based on similar beliefs and experiences. This could prove to be even more meaningful than our traditional notions of community.
Due to the rise of globalization, there's a large movement of people geographically. These online communities, whether they're discussion boards or Facebook, provide a place for people to feel grounded and socially connected, whether it's with people that they know from home or whether they are just people that are in a similar situation. Wenyan's study looked at Chinese immigrants' use of the internet. They found through the use of online communities, many Chinese immigrants maintained their sense of cultural identity. They exchanged news on China, shared Chinese music, and spoke Chinese. While their cultural identity was shifting and adjusting to Western life, they used this new media as an aspect to as a way to maintain that aspect of themselves.
Turkle saw our connection to technology as a second self. For example, when we're at school, we're usually focused on our role as a student. We're aware of all of our other commitments and relations to everybody else, but at the moment we're usually focused on what is in front of us. However, when we carry an electronic device like a cell phone with us all the time, when we're always on, ready to be connected in a second, we become tethered. We constantly have an electronic co-presence.
We may be surrounded by a million different people at the bus stop, yet we're disengaged from them completely. We're often plugged into our own little private media bubble, as Turkle suggests.
When this is the case, when we have a private second self, when we're in our own little media bubble, consider its effect on our interpersonal relationships. How common is it for two people to be having a conversation and the other person answers a cell phone call right in the middle of it? Or how many times have you sat with a friend and she looks at her text messages right in the middle of your discussion? Or consider the amount of times that business people get together and they're all sitting in a meeting, yet they're all on their Blackberries emailing away. This can have a serious effect on our day-to-day face-to-face interaction. All in all, new media helps us deepen our existing relationships, it helps us meet new people, and it helps us connect to people all over the world on the basis of interest rather than convenience. Although sometimes it can seem a little overwhelming, there are many benefits to it. My personal advice is to make sure that you balance the amount of time that you socialize online and offline. And although you think you have 200 or more friends on Facebook, recognize who your true friends are and try to invest more time in them, whether they're online friends or offline. Thank you for watching this episode of Modern Times. I'm your host, Rachel Van Ryan. Until next time.
Help! I need somebody. Help! Not just anybody. Help! You know I need someone. Help! When I was younger, so much younger than today, I never needed anybody.